Imagine this. You've just had a little light, healthy snack in bed, and you feel content, perhaps even somewhat self-satisfied with your selection. But suppose that very snack is silently laying the groundwork for one of the most deadly occurrences that can occur while you're sleeping. Each and every year, thousands of Americans age 60 and above experience strokes at night. And for many, the culprit begins a few hours before bedtime, in the kitchen. The biggest shocker? The snacks are usually packaged with labels covered in joyful health claims, low-fat, heart-healthy, natural, that make us feel protected but unwittingly place additional pressure on our hearts and blood vessels. Tonight, we're peeling back those labels and exposing which innocent bedtime treats could be pushing your blood pressure higher, thickening your blood, or even speeding up your heartbeat when your body should be resting. I'm not scaring you. I'm here to assist you in outsmarting these sneaky threats so that you can have your evenings and still give your brain and heart a break. If you've ever snacked in the evening with the thought, it's okay, it's healthy, then you should watch this video until the end. By then, you'll know just which decisions are ruining your sleep and your well-being. Rapid challenge. Leave a 1 in the comments if you typically snack at night, or 0 if you don't. And while we're at it, be sure to subscribe to Daily Health so that we can continue along this path of wellness together. Coming up on the list are the first 2 surprising snacks that appear wholesome and energizing, but contain a salty, sweet, double whammy. Trail Mix. The healthy snack with a deceptively dirty secret. At first glance, Trail Mix appears to be ideal. Crunchy nuts for good fats, chewy dried fruit for natural sugar, perhaps a dash of seeds for added nutrition. But here's the bad news. Most commercially purchased versions are far from the clean, wholesome mix we envision. Most companies roast their nuts in highly salted oils, and we're not just referring to a light sprinkle. One small serving contains 200 to 300 milliliters of sodium, and admit it, most folks pour a bowl, not a handful. That'll triple your salt consumption without you even knowing it. Then there's the dried fruit. Rather than being plain dehydrated, some are coated with added sugar or even saturated in corn syrup to give them that shiny, chewy look. Now, your natural snack is full of refined sugar in addition to all the salt. Why is this so important before bed? Sodium increases your blood pressure, making your heart pump harder when your body needs to wind down. Too much sugar surges your blood glucose, makes your blood thicker, and raises the risk for clotting. Actually, a study from 2020 by the American Heart Association discovered that nighttime sodium consumption considerably increases nighttime blood pressure, and that prolonged elevation is associated with an increased risk of stroke while sleeping. Talk to one 68-year-old Florida man who proudly replaced his evening potato chips with Trail Mix. Within weeks, his ankles were bloating at bedtime, a sign of fluid buildup due to excessive sodium. He was amazed to discover that his healthy snack contained more salt than the chips he had replaced them with. A healthier option? Prepare your own Trail Mix at home. Employ unsalted nuts, omit the added sugar, and add a handful of unsweetened dried cranberries or cherries. You'll enjoy that nice crunch and chew without sending your blood vessels racing during the night. Talking of crunch, next comes a snack that frequently makes healthy lists, but conceals a threat with each fluffy, looks-innocent bite: popcorn. The late-night trap. Popcorn is simply corn, an entire grain, so it must be safe, right? Hold off on the butter, and you're set, or so we believe. In reality, even light, air-popped, or heart-healthy oil popcorn can deliver an unhealthy kick. Most of the savory varieties, even lightly salted ones, contain 150 to 200 milliliters of sodium per cup. And if you have a snack or two like most, you're consuming more than a cup. That's plenty of salt to keep your blood pressure raised long into the evening. But salt is not the only nemesis in this case. Some packaged, butter-flavored popcorns continue to use partially hydrogenated oils, a trans fat source. Harvard's School of Public Health says even small amounts of trans fats raise the risk of cardiovascular disease. Consuming them at night means your body is breaking them down and circulating those unhealthy fats during the nighttime hours, a time when blood flow naturally decreases, allowing fatty deposits to adhere more easily. I recall a woman from Ohio who openly traded chips for microwave popcorn as her guilt-free late-night snack. Several months later, her blood pressure had edged higher without any other diet alteration. The offender, her evening healthy popcorn laden with salt she no longer even appreciated. A better choice? Air pop your popcorn at home and season it yourself with herbs or a light sprinkle of nutritional yeast. You'll control the sodium and avoid unhealthy oils altogether. Try swapping that heavy sprinkle of salt for something more heart-friendly. A dash of rosemary, a pinch of smoked paprika, or even a little garlic powder. You'll still get that satisfying crunch without sending your blood vessels into a late-night workout. And talking about crunchy treats, the next one may really come as a surprise to you. It begins on a wholesome note but goes the salty way that can turn it into a nighttime blood pressure trap. Whole wheat crackers with cheese. The heart health illusion. On the surface, this pairing seems like something your physician would endorse. Whole grains, heart healthy, cheese, full of protein and calcium, but things start to come apart here. Whole wheat crackers alone are relatively healthy, but most commercial brands already contain 100 to 150 milligrams of sodium per serving. And the serving sizes, only 3 or 4 crackers. Most grab a handful, or 2, easily doubling or even tripling their sodium intake before the cheese has even reached the plate. Cheese, tasty as it is one of the most sodium-rich foods in the American diet. A single slice of cheddar contains roughly 175 milligrams of sodium, and some processed cheeses go far beyond that. Add that to salty crackers, and you might consume half a day's worth of sodium in one snack. That added salt draws water into the bloodstream, increasing pressure when your heart needs to be relaxing. A study in the 2019 Hypertension Journal revealed that increased sodium consumption at night was associated with decreased nocturnal dipping, the natural drop in blood pressure that occurs during sleep. Without this dip, your heart and vessels don't get their nightly rest, growing long-term damage and stroke risk. I talked with an Arizona school teacher in retirement who enjoyed unwinding at night with crackers and cheese. She felt she was doing a better thing than cookies or chips, until she read how her nighttime snack contained more than 700 millimoles of sodium. She traded to unsalted whole wheat crackers served with fresh tomato slices, and within weeks, her blood pressure readings at night had improved. A healthier alternative? Choose the really low sodium crackers, avoid the processed cheeses, and serve them with avocado or cucumber for that creamy feel without the salt excess. And speaking of healthy substitutes that can creep up and wreak havoc on us, let's examine one that comes in a bottle, tastes cool, but may have your heart racing when you should be sleeping. Kombucha and natural energy drinks. The stimulant you didn't expect. In the last few years, kombucha and plant energy drinks have blown up in popularity, particularly among those attempting to kick soda. Kombucha guarantees probiotics for a healthy gut, while natural energy drinks flaunt clean, plant-fueled energy. They're sounding innocent, but they may contain a double kick of caffeine and sugar that's anything but bedtime friendly. Caffeine is a stimulant. Even though you may not feel nervous, it can increase your heart rate and blood pressure for hours. The Mayo Clinic points out caffeine's half-life is approximately 5 to 6 hours, which means a big dose at night can last well after bedtime. And in individuals over 60, the sensitivity to caffeine tends to rise, which makes its effects more intense and longer-lasting. Then, there's the sugar. Although some brands boast low sugar, most bottles still have 8 to 12 grams per serving, and most bottles contain 2 servings. Sugar raises your blood glucose, making the blood thick and sluggish. Add that to caffeine and you have a formula for irregular heartbeats and increased nighttime blood pressure, both stroke risk factors. I recall a man in California who enjoyed drinking kombucha on the couch watching TV at night. He believed it was beneficial to digestion until he began monitoring his resting heart rate on his smartwatch. On kombucha evenings, his heart rate was 10 to 15 beats per minute higher than on evenings spent drinking water or herbal tea. A smarter option? If you're addicted to kombucha, drink it earlier in the day, ideally over lunch, so your body has time to flush out the caffeine and sugar. As for natural energy drinks, avoid them in the evening completely. For a nightcap, stick to caffeine-free. Herbal teas such as chamomile or rooibos, which calm your body down rather than rev it up. Now, let's come to another snack that begins with a truly healthy foundation, rich, creamy nut butters, but receives a sugary spin that renders it much less kind to your evening heart health. Nut butters with sugary add-ons, the sugar trap in disguise. Nut butters, peanut, almond, or cashew, are inherently full of healthful fats, protein, and a little fiber, all of which combine to make you feel full. Alone, they can be a good call, but the problem begins when you add them to sweet toppings like honey, jam, or fruit preserves, particularly at night. Here's why. A single tablespoon of honey has around 17 grams of sugar. Most jams or preserves contribute 10 to 12 grams more per tablespoon. Spread a thick layer of nut butter on toast and drizzle on honey or smear jam, and you've turned your healthy snack into a high-sugar, high-calorie dessert. While the fat in the nut butter may slow digestion slightly, the sugar still triggers a sharp spike in blood glucose. That spike prompts your body to release insulin, which can then cause your blood sugar to drop again, sometimes in the middle of the night. This roller coaster can trigger stress hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, which increase blood pressure, heart rate, and interfere with deep sleep cycles. A 2018 circulation study discovered that heavy evening sugar consumption was linked with higher nighttime blood pressure and lower heart rate variability, both markers of greater cardiovascular stress. For older adults, this can raise the risk of small clots developing in the brain's small vessels overnight. I once interviewed a retired Michigan nurse who enjoyed whole-grain bread with peanut butter and honey at night. She considered this an improvement over cookies or cake. However, after testing herself with a home blood glucose monitor, she noticed her evening glucose elevated 40 points on the nights she'd enjoyed that snack. Making the switch to unsweetened. Nut butter with fresh berries sliced in allowed her the sweetness she yearned for without the sugar rush, and she slept better. Improved option? Keep the nut butter plain and unsweetened. Mind your portions and top it with naturally low-sugar options like slices of apple or cucumber rounds. And for goodness sake, speaking of healthy snacks gone wrong, consider one that sits in your pocket, has shiny packaging, and boasts all the right labels, but usually behaves exactly like candy. Granola bars and protein bars, candy masquerading as a snack. Granola bars and protein bars look like an intelligent step up from candy or cookies. They have words like whole grain, natural energy, and full of protein. But the reality check is that most of them are nothing but candy bars with oats and protein powder masquerading them. One bar may contain 10 to 20 grams of sugar, usually in the form of syrups like brown rice syrup or high fructose corn syrup, which reach your bloodstream as quickly as white sugar. That rush of sugar makes your blood more viscous, increases your heart rate, and makes your heart work overtime. Not the best pre-bed activity. Following the crash comes the crash, causing cortisol and adrenaline to level out blood sugar, maintaining your heart rate up and blood pressure unstable throughout the night. And sugar's not the only issue. Oftentimes, bars are bound together by palm oil, soybean oil, or even hydrogenated oils to maintain their softness and shelf life. These fats will inflame and harden your blood vessels. When it gets dark and circulation tends to slow, that can raise the risk of plaque formation or clotting. A 2021 Journal of the American College of Cardiology study connected nighttime high-fat, high-sugar snack attacks with a higher risk of nocturnal hypertension, a sneaky but risky stroke risk factor. I remember one gentleman from Texas who traded in his evening cookies for a high-protein bar, thinking he won. Months after, his blood pressure readings increased and his evening heart rate variability decreased. Once he substituted the bar with plain Greek yogurt and a handful of fresh blueberries, his numbers went back to normal and his mornings felt not so sluggish. A healthier option? If you absolutely need a bar, choose one with less than 5 grams of sugar and no hydrogenated oils. Even better, wait until daytime when your body is moving and circulation is better. And that leads us to our last snack, a small, dark indulgence enjoyed by millions for its antioxidant and heart health benefits, but with a kick that can sneakily keep your body in overdrive long after the clock strikes midnight. Dark chocolate, the caffeinated nightcap. Dark chocolate has earned its place as a superfood, full of flavonoids and antioxidants that will be beneficial to heart health. Moderation, and earlier in the day, it's an intelligent indulgence. As a night snack, however, and especially for individuals aged 60 or older, it can be a hidden disaster. One of the biggest offenders is caffeine. Although dark chocolate has less caffeine than coffee, an ounce still contains 20 to 30 milligrams. And the darker it is, the higher the caffeine content. Add in theobromine, another natural stimulant found in cocoa, and you've got a double punch that can keep your heart rate elevated long after the lights go out. This prevents your blood pressure from dipping naturally at night, a vital process that allows your cardiovascular system to recover and recharge during sleep. And then there's the sugar content. Most dark chocolates with less than 80% cacao still contain 8 to 12 grams of sugar per serving. That initial sweetness can trigger the same spike and crash response as other sweets, adding stress to your blood vessels. In fact, a 2019 nutrient study revealed that increased sugar consumption in the evening directly correlated to lower quality sleep and increased nighttime blood pressure in older adults. I used to talk to a woman in Oregon who swore by her evening habit, 2 pieces of 70% dark chocolate with her herbal tea. She didn't think much about it, until she realized she was waking up more times at night. After monitoring her sleep with a fitness tracker, she realized her heart rate remained high on nights when she indulged. When she relocated her snack to the afternoon, her sleep patterns improved, and so did her morning blood pressure. So if you're a fan of dark chocolate, don't have to eliminate it from your diet altogether. Simply eat it earlier in the day, preferably before mid-afternoon, and opt for varieties containing at least 85% cacao to maintain low sugar. That way, you still enjoy the antioxidants and deep flavor without putting your heart and blood pressure into hyperdrive at night. Now that we have unwrapped all 7 healthy snacks with surprising nighttime risks, it is now time to bring it together. Here's the bottom line. These foods look more like a wellness booster, but can quietly put extra strain on your heart, thicken your blood, and stress the blood vessels, precisely when your body should be resting and repairing. The result? Higher blood pressure, disrupted circulation, and poor sleep quality, without you even noticing. The good news is that you don't have to give up snacking entirely. With a few easy substitutions, fresh berries for dried fruit, lightly salted nuts for highly processed trail mix, herbal tea for sweetened drinks, along with more informed timing, you can indulge in all the comfort and taste you desire without risking your health. Think of every smart decision as a little present to your future self, that much closer to guarding your heart, your mind, and your independence down the road. If this video made you rethink your night routine, pass it along to a friend, leave a 1 in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed for more daily health tips. Your healthiest mornings and best nights are yet to come.